Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast. I'm your host, Frank Fiume, here live at the IFA2024 National Convention, and looking forward to interviewing some folks at this year's event. I have Lorne Fisher from Fish Consulting and 919 Marketing,
yes.
A franchise legend, sir. How are you?
Good. Nice to see another legend like yourself. It's very nice. Doing well.
Does that mean we're just kind of like older?
Yes. It's the gray hair that does it, right? For sure.
That's what franchising does to you.
That's for sure. It does that. It gives you a lot of gray a lot faster.
So, Lorne, we got a lot to talk about. We have a very short period of time.
Yes.
I mean, let's talk about 919 Marketing. Right. First of all, I mean, incredible company. Why don't you share with the audience what makes 919 Marketing different than some of the stuff that's out there?
Right, it's a great question, Frank. I think 919 Marketing's been around for probably more than 20 years, and one of the things that makes us very different now is we have a product called 919 Insights that actually helps franchisors' websites perform better, actually influences their content better, and even influences their architecture. So that really helps them find prospects and consumers in a lot better way.
Cool. How many IFAs is this for you?
Oh gosh, it's like 19, I think, is IFAs. I mean, I've been fortunate. I've served on the board in 18 and 19. I was the supplier chair in 19, and so we're all in on the franchise business model. So it's been great.
Absolutely. Okay, so every year is something a little bit different. Is there a new takeaway that you've gotten from this year's conference or two?
It's interesting. It's like every year you get a little bit of something. I think the highlight, I would say, of the conference was listening to Deion Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
And I just, I didn't expect it to be as meaningful as it was. I figured you'd get his one-liners and everything else, but it was motivational. Like, I've been thinking about some things he says, and really I've been talking to my wife and sharing some of the stuff like that, and it made a lot more of a connection to me than I thought.
I talked to my wife about it too, and I talked about what is our rabbit.
Yes.
What is your rabbit?
Interesting. Wow. I've been really fortunate over the last 6 months that a lot of things have come together for me from a business perspective. I was able to sell Fish Consulting and work with 919. We have a similar private equity owner. So my rabbit has changed. I would say my rabbit was initially to build a successful business and sell that and be able to provide for my family for the future. And now my rabbit is a little bit different. I'm now challenged to kind of help a company and build it as well and see if I could scale what I've done for my smaller company with a larger one. So the rabbit is moving for me, which is really exciting.
How cool is that? Maybe I take it as you actually caught the rabbit on the first go around, right?
You could say that. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Yeah. Yeah, but I let it go because now I want to chase it again.
Hey, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah,
having something new to chase, a new purpose, a new mission,
absolutely.
And that's awesome. Well, look, I appreciate you being on. I have one more thing, and that is I mostly talk to emerging founders.
Yep.
And there's a lot of challenges, of course, when you're starting a franchise concept. Sure. What's maybe a piece of advice that you would give to an emerging founder, specifically when it comes to doing marketing, hiring a firm? What's something they should be really looking for?
Well, one of the pieces of advice that I always share with emerging brands is that they're much focused on the selling of franchises, and that is their driver, which I appreciate why that's the case financially. But I really focus on the operations and build a sound company. And a sound company will franchise well and franchise fast, because bringing in more franchisees only taxes the company that they're trying to build. So while that may be counterintuitive based on where they're trying to get the money from the franchise fees and everything else, build a sound operations model and everything else will fall into place. So that would be my advice.
And that is fantastic advice. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks for the time.
Thank you for tuning into the Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast. For additional insights, guest applications, and to stay connected, visit us at efbpodcast.com. The Emerging Franchise Brands Podcast is for entertainment purposes only, and the views expressed do not necessarily represent those of Emerging Franchise Brands, its host Frank Fiume, or Emerging Franchise Group, LLC. Any discussed franchise or investment opportunity requires thorough investigation, obtaining proper disclosure documents, and expert consultation before making any investment decisions. The podcast and its host do not offer professional advice or endorsements, and they hold no responsibility for actions, representations, accuracy, or consequential damages related to the podcast content.